I'm off the grid. We are in the presence of wolves, my friends. So stick around to the end to see some pretty cool wolf tracking and more rare and incredible wolf video footage. Headed up to Zeballos on Vancouver Island, British Columbia. This is the story of that meeting, of the wildness of the spirit of the wolf that echoes through my bones. She greeted me like she knew the road I'd traveled, knew the rebirth I was chasing, knew the depths of intention in my heart. It is said that wolf can read our thoughts, and that is why they have little interest in us. I spent a few days in Campbell River living at the Oyster Bay rest stop, which was kind of like this drop back to 1970s carefree way it seemed like. Not like your average rest stop. It's definitely like people really kind of lived here. And it was okay. Small town okay, it's pretty cool. But yeah, heading up to Zeballos, the west side of Vancouver Island, the northern part of the island, and like getting ready to enter back. It's an expedition mode. I got food stocked up and water and an extra gas can filled. We're stealing bases, that's what we do. I don't know if you can tell, it's pretty calm here on this side, but once you get around this point, I'm gonna be back into the wind. Look at this prehistoric creature. I cannot believe how wonderful calm it is in these little bends just before the next point I have to round. But quite a bit more windy when you round the points. And the waves aren't so bad. They're just kind of close together and a little steep and choppy. So there's kind of a lot of splashing and kind of bucking waves with the bow of my boat.
it's really beginning to feel like a slog into the wind. I'm just rounding another more protected point. You can see how the kelp has really been helpful in breaking down some of the choppiness of the water. And now we're going around another exposed point. Again, the waves aren't bad. They're just really choppy and sloppy, which makes the boat do a lot of bucking. I love the kelp beds. This is so much nicer again. Can you see the kelp beds? Yeah, they really do help. And can you see the farthest point out there on the left side? That is where I'm heading to today. That's Rugged Point, and it's supposed to be absolutely spectacular, living up to its namesake. One cool thing about this coastline is there are a lot of beaches. Not all of them are the best for camping. This one looks really good. But still, you know, it's a place to get off the water if you need to, and you could flatten spot and make a camp for the night. Yeah, the forecast today was calling for 7 knots. Well, that was from an app. That's a Wind Finder. It's an app that somebody showed me today, and because I couldn't get the weather on my VHF, we were too far up the inlet. Yeah, it said the strongest winds were 7 knots, which is like 7 nautical miles, which is roughly 7 miles an hour. But it's definitely stronger than that. I have been leaning into it at times. Around in those points, I've been leaning into the wind hard. And yeah, I think it was at least 15 knots. A steady, strong 15 knots at times. So it was a little bit stronger than they called for, because 7 knots is like nothing. Anything under 15 is like desirable in my book. Yeah, and the swell they called for was 4 feet, which is a little over a meter. And I'm not seeing that today. I'm just seeing the kind of choppy, sloppy waves I've been talking about. But yeah, as far as swell, it seems to be pretty flat. Pretty amazing. Yeah, this is really cool. This is really cool. Right now I'm in a really nice, calm little cove again before I round the next point. And it's just awesome. I'm getting really close. Ooh! I just saw a porpoise. They're so quick. They're hard to catch. I've seen a handful of sea otters. Pretty much just single ones, but I've definitely seen a good half a dozen of them just in the last couple hours. So that's pretty cool too. They're always fun to watch. They're just kind of, I don't know, they're so intriguing. They got this humanistic little furry face. Who's so curious and looking at you. Ooh. I keep watching the coast closely, looking for wolf and bear. I know they're here. Hopefully they'll show themselves. Hopefully they'll show themselves. Did you guys notice more swell out here? This is the open ocean. And it's an amazingly calm day on the outer coast. Even with the headwind I was battling on the way here today at times. It's pretty awesomely calm. A little bit of a light swell and a little bit of a light chop. It was nothing like the chop I was paddling against to get out here. It's kind of crazy. But look at that beautiful coastline. It's like jaw-dropping and eye-popping. I am looking for hidden, sneaky passageways through, and I'm not sure that there are any. The tide's going out now, so I think it's, if there was a sneaky passage, it's probably going to be more like high tide, just from what I'm seeing. Although I am seeing a pretty narrow little passage here, so I'm just going to approach it and just watch. It's such a light swell that it seems pretty safe, but I just want to make sure that I'm not stumbling onto anything. It's pretty cool though. The open ocean is just on the other side of these trees. It doesn't look like there's a passageway through here, but pretty cool little spot to check out. Look, an oyster catcher. They got the most brilliant reddish orange beaks. Very cool birds. Gotta always keep an eye on the swell, where it's breaking, how big it is coming in. This is the kind of place that doesn't show up on maps, only in dreams and whispered stories. My van is parked miles away inland, tucked beneath cedar and fog. But out here, I'm untethered. Just me, my kayak, and the breathing of the ocean. This is a land where every bend in the path is a question whispered by the wild. cougar's artwork just phenomenal. It's like, what kind of crazy designs are these? It's just amazing. Yeah, those coastal trails can be a little slick with all the moisture. I'm so grateful for those ropes that people put up. It really helps because it's pretty slippery and the roots are slippery. So yeah, very grateful for those ropes. And there's definitely plenty of warnings. Wolves frequent the area, and bears, and definitely cougars down on the beaches. So I've been hearing that so frequently, carrying this very close. Yeah, I'm not even really concerned about wolves. Wolves, there's really no documented cases of wolves ever, healthy wolves ever attacking a person that weren't provoked or fed, habituated, you know. And bears tend to mind their own business if they haven't gotten in trouble before. But cougars, I do know cougars, young cougars are kicked out from their family, from the mother, really early, like within a year, 7 months to a year. And so they're out testing food sources. Bears stay with their mothers for about 3 summers, so they really learn their food sources. And wolves, they're family units, and they stay with their family units, so they really learn their food sources. But cougars are the ones that will go out and test, because they had such a short education with the mother, you know, like 7 months to a year, and then they're basically kicked out. So they're the ones that do test food sources. So cougars are the ones that I'm watching out for, and that's what I carry this for, just in case, because there's just been so many warnings, which is awesome. I love knowing that they're here, and I'd love to see one at a healthy distance, and be careful what you wish for, right? And it's one of the 10 essentials. And of course, you always want to be prepared in the wilderness. It's pretty hard packed sand, so tracks may not show. I know I'm fascinated by these designs, but they're so cool and they keep changing everywhere I go down the beach. These right here could definitely be wolf. It's pretty big. The recent rains kind of wiped out the detail, but you can definitely see the pattern. Those are some beautiful flowers. And these are wild chives. You can actually eat the flowers, and they taste like chives. Definitely good to nibble on. These are definitely paw prints. You see the toe marks. Here they are again. And there's another. There's definitely wolves in the area. Here, you have one paw and another paw overlay. And that's what wolves do. They step on the footprint in front of them. Yeah, that's what wolves do. They step on the footprint in front of them. So the hind foot comes and steps where the front foot steps. And they do that in repeated fashion. And after this, the tracks disappear. See, there they are again. 2 canine paw prints, one on top of the other. And with wolves, their claws, front claws will often show. With cats, they don't. Their claws are retracted until they need them. Pretty cool, eh? And there's more tracks. These ones are even better. Look at that. It's definitely canine, definitely wolf. Wild wolf. Doesn't get much better than that. We are in the presence of wolves, my friends. Wow. The wild places. There are still wild places. That is awesome. Very juicy prints here. And these are after the rains because they're have very much retained their shape. Very cool. Boy, I tell you, that sure takes my breath away. You know, it's amazing to see wolves, bear, cougar, but there's also that just inherent beauty and value in just knowing that they're here, even if you never see them. I'm feeling their presence. I definitely feel them. I keep looking over my shoulder. It's like, what's going on behind me? Because they could be heading down the beach the other way now. That was a full day between the paddling and the hiking, the beaches, following the tracks of the wolves, and hiking over a few headlands when I needed to because I couldn't go around them. That was a day. I'm tired. It is said that wolves' hearing is exceptional and that they're able to hear sounds as far away as 6 miles. And their sense of smell is extraordinary, 100,000 times more perceptive than ours. And so I have no doubt that wolf knows I am here, even though I have not seen wolf directly. I rounded a jagged outcrop of rock where the land juts out like a broken fang into the sea. And that's when I saw her. A lone wolf, dark as driftwood and soaked in the morning dew, trotting down the open beach directly towards me. She wasn't startled, she didn't run. She watched me with the kind of gaze that doesn't ask questions, but seems to see right through you. For a breathless instant, the world narrowed to just us, and I raised my hand, not in fear, not in warning, but in greeting. And so our meeting is a leaving of only paw prints in the sand and a story etched into the salt of my skin. These are the mornings when the ocean forgets the pulse and rhythm of its own dance, when the tide holds its breath and the sky leans in to listen. And so I paddle back with something new in my chest, not just this invigorating breath from this outrageously incredible experience, but a new purpose, the kind that only comes when the wild sees you and does not look away. And there's a meeting of hearts and minds in there. This channel isn't just a brand, it's a signal fire for those who've lost something and are ready to find it again. For wanderers reborn, for storytellers unshackled, for the ones who know that transformation doesn't happen in comfort, it happens in the unknown spaces. The wolf has howled, the raven has landed, and the road ahead is sparkling in the sunlight. Let's keep this fire burning together, shall we? And a big thank you to all my subscribers. We just broke 200, and if you're a YouTube channel builder, you know that is a big landmark. So thank you guys so much. Please subscribe, like, send love in the comments, ask questions. I love hearing from you.